last day, we started talking about division, and I said chances are the hardest questions you can come across are the ones with these symbols. How do you divide using symbols? How do you divide using a number line? We left this one blank, so we can do a recap. So a division statement has to have three numbers. A number divided by another number equals a third number. How do we figure out what those three numbers are? What goes in the first number spot? Alice?
The total.
The total. And that is how long the line is. So that is -10. So that goes there. Okay. Second blank. What is that? Sam. How many groups or how many sections there are? We have two. Then finally, what's the last one?
5. -5.
And where are you getting that information from? Alice? Well, what is right there? What's the word for it?
It's the like number or like how big each section is.
How big each one is. So this is -5 and this is -5. Okay? So now the problem with these model ones is sometimes it's the signs that are the issue to figure out, right? It's easy enough to figure out what the numbers are, the signs become harder, and we talked about, hey, just the multiplication rules that we really want to focus. So onto the back side of the page, what we got to remember is the same rules for multiplying apply for dividing. So if you have a positive number divided by a positive number, what do we get?
Positive.
Positive equals a positive. All right? Okay, if you have a positive divided by a negative, what do we get?
Negative.
Negative, thank you. So a little minus sign there, I'm going to write down negative. If we have a negative divided by a positive.
Negative.
Negative, thank you. And finally, a negative divided by a negative?
Positive.
Thank you. Same rules as multiplying. Okay. So going on to example 4. So there's two things you got to pay attention for. Dividing the numbers and what the final sign is. Okay. What's 12 divided by 6?
2.
2.
-2.
And a positive divided by a negative?
Negative.
It's a negative. Using the signs over there, right? It's a negative. Okay, next one. 20 divided by 4? 5. What's a positive divided by a negative?
Negative.
Negative. Okay. 40 divided by 5?
8.
8. And we have a negative and a negative. What does that make? Positive. That's an 8. I'll make a nicer 8. 8. Okay. We have 60 divided by 15. What do we have? How many times does 15 fit in? Ooh, good. 4. And we have a negative divided by a positive. What do we get? Negative. Awesome. Okay. 6 divided by 0.
0. 0. Not possible.
Not possible. Thank you, Amber.
0. It's not 0. Well, 0.
0 can't fit into 6 nicely.
But 0 is nothing.
Yeah.
So it's
So how do you divide up 6 into groups of nothing? You
nothing.
can't.
There's nothing.
Yeah, you got to use up all the pieces.
0, right?
So it's not possible.
It's nothing.
No, it's different than nothing. So when you have your pieces like this, right? So 10 is your total. So in that question, we had, what was our number? 6 is our total. Right? And this is how many groups we want to make. And we have to use up all the pieces. If you want to make 0 groups, You can't use up all the pieces.
The answer is 0. Right?
Yeah.
No, the answer's not possible because you
The answer is
can't divvy up.
If we like get it on a test and we write 0, is it wrong?
It would be wrong.
Then what do we write? Not possible.
Not possible.
What is not possible wrong?
Huh? That's fine. I'm not going to mark you on your spelling. Right?
It's not possible. F is not possible too.
F is possible.
Yeah, man.
It would be 0.
0.
Oh yeah.
It's not possible.
Oh, no, it is possible.
Yes, sir.
You're wrong.
Because you can have 10 groups of 0.
I knew that.
Right? You can.
Yeah, it's just 0.
10 different groups of 0.
Yeah.
You can have 0 different groups of 0.
Mhm.
That's like
Okay.
that's like a croissant.
Now, some word problems here. One night, the temperature in Mission was falling by 2 degrees each hour. How many hours did it take for the temperature to fall 10 degrees?
5.
Who said that? Was that Max? How did you do that, Max?
No, 2 times 5 is 10.
Yeah. Now, so we're going to write this out. 2 times something is 10. And Max just knew that 2 times 5 is 10. So it took 5 hours. Now, it's important to be able to show your work. Now, I don't know, depending on the mood that I am in the particular day, I'll be marking this. I'm not sure how to give that full credit. Missing 2 things.
Oh. You can change it into a division statement.
Oh, you could change it to a division statement, but there's something about these numbers I don't like.
Positives and negatives.
Positive and negative.
Negative 5.
Oh, well, no. It took negative 5 hours?
Oh, no, positive.
Ariana?
Well, it's dropping by 2, so it'd be negative 2.
Yeah, it's dropping by 2. Dropping is a negative. It's dropping by 2 degrees each time, right? So, and it drops altogether 10 degrees there. So you're missing the negatives there, right? And you notice something else there, Sam, that we should have? Alice?
A sentence.
A sentence. Word problem should have a sentence. All right, you can say, it took 5 hours to drop 10 degrees Celsius. Okay.
Would it be negative 10?
No, I use the word drop. Drop. Drop means negative, right? All right. So you can reword it if you wanted to. All right. Let's look at the next question here. Okay, the deepest record dive is 500 meters for an empire penguin and 200 meters for a sperm whale.
2,000.
Oh, sorry, 2,000, yes.
That's a strong whale.
How many times as deep does the sperm whale dive compared to the penguin?
4.
Sam? Sorry?
4.
And how did you come up with 4?
5 times 4 equals 20.
So 5 times 4 is equal to 20, or 5,000 times 4 equals 20,000. So you just made the number smaller. That's fine,
Yeah, you
right?
can get the zeros.
So we're going to write it out with, I like how you did your mental math, but we're going to, when you're writing it, we're going to use the actual numbers, right? So just like the other one, we can say 4 like this. Now, yes, Lucas?
Negative.
Yeah, it should be negatives as well. We're going down. That should be a negative here, and that should be a negative there. And I think Sam was saying we could write these as a division statement as well, right? Did you? Sorry, that was Alice. How would that be as a division statement?
2,000 divided by 500 equals 1.
Yeah, so or we could go 2,000 divided by 500 and negative equals 4. So we could have done it 2 different ways. Good. And we just give it a little statement. That's the only thing we're missing. how many times deep the whale dives 4 times as deep as the penguin. Now, they're pretty straightforward, these kind of questions, except for one question on your assignment. Okay, so we're going to have to add on to our notes here. So maybe on the bottom here, just add on a note. Now, there are some math words we sort of come up. If I use the word sum, what does the word sum mean?
It's addition.
Addition. If I use difference, what does it mean?
Subtraction.
Have you guys heard the word change?
No.
Have you guys heard the word rate mathematically?
Rate.
Greater.
Rate. R-E-E-T.
Oh, rate.
Oh yeah.
Right? So those are two math terms that can come up a lot in math and in science. Because in science, we measure change a lot. How quickly did this thing happen? And then that means rate. Okay? Now, you're going to come across this a lot in the next couple of years. The word change. If you want to know how much something changed by, it's pretty straightforward. It's your final minus your initial, whatever you're measuring, right? So you're finding a difference. Minus initial value. All right? It could be a question something like, let's see, how about we can say, how about Lucas? Let's use Lucas here. All right? Lucas was, let's see, was at school. He walked to the corner store, which is 5 kilometers away. How far did Lucas go? 5 kilometers. And that's actually change. And that's the sort of the vocabulary we use in grade 8. What's his, so if you draw a little picture of Lucas here with his big muscles and his running feet on, so we'll give him a little Nikes, right? And he's going down to the corner store, right? Right. He is. He's almost the same size as the corner store, right? His initial, he's 0 distance here, and that's 5, right? So he started at 0, and he went to 5. So he changed final minus 0. Yeah, that's what it is, right?
Oh my God.
Now,
Wow.
you're going to measure, calculate rates a lot too. And Alice, you said you heard the word rate before. What does rate mean? Do you know? Do you remember what rate is?
Oh, I forget.
Okay. So now rate is, in terms of distance here, is how quickly you changed. And in this case, it would be speed, but you can measure lots of things. So rate is your change divided by the time it took for the change to happen. Right? So here, in our example, we can say, hey, Lucas jogged there in 5 minutes, right? No, that's not just 5 minutes. Let's say Lucas jogged there in 2 minutes. He's really fast.
Wow.
Right?
30 seconds.
So what does rate be? His rate would be
2 minutes.
our change, our 5,
Oh.
divided by
2.
2,
Yeah.
which is half of 5, which is 2.5. Okay, now rate has units. Okay, it's pretty easy to figure out the units. Look at the first number. 5. What was the units for 5?
5 kilometers.
5 kilometers. We had a little kilometers here. I'm gonna put that little kilometers here. In 2 minutes. So our rate is kilometers per minute. This little slash here means per. And it sort of looks like a dividing by sign, right? So that's what a unit. So now, in science class, you guys measure change all the time, or you will be. Like, how long did it take for the pH to change? How long did it take for this color to change? How long did it take for this substance to warm up? It's always like, whatever the change is, oh, temperature went up, divided by how much time it took. Right? Okay. So that is it for the notes. And I'll come around and I'll help you. We